Hi, I'm Cheryl Kagan, very proud to be the senator for Gaithersburg and Rockville. Welcome to this week's very special edition of Kibbitzing with Kagan, brief conversations with people I find fascinating. And today I am chatting with the Senate High School pages, folks who have been with us for 2 weeks, 1 week in the beginning and 1 week as we start to get closer to wrapping up. And they're just terrific, and I wanted you to meet them. So welcome. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you very much for having us.
So let's start with going around the horn here with first name, last name, what grade you're in, and what high school in what county you go to. So Amelia, why don't you kick us off?
Sure. Hi there. My name is Amelia Farrar. I am 17 years old. I'm a senior at Severna Park High School, and that's in Anne Arundel County.
Great. Oliver?
Hi, my name is Oliver Song. I am a senior at Wild Lake High School in Howard County.
Great. Mohammed?
Hi, hello everyone. My name is Muhammad Bilal Wali. I'm from Montgomery County. I go to Lake High School, and I'm a senior there.
Great. Alex?
Hi, everyone. My name is Alex Ostenkale. I go to Crofton High School in Anne Arundel County.
Excellent. So you have literally just a couple hours ago finished your page tenure. Let's go in reverse order. And let me just do the disclaimer at the beginning. You all are speaking as individuals. You are not representing the page program. You're not representing the Senate of Maryland or the state of Maryland. You are students, and you're just going to share your thoughts and experiences. So I just want to be really clear about that. So Alex, let's start with each of you thinking about, what was a highlight of your experience?
Yeah, that's a great question. I have to say there are so many highlights, but if I had to pick one, it would definitely be the learning experience. I got to experience so much, understand the intricate details of local government, which I would have never have learned in the classroom. I am so grateful for that experience. And on top of that, all the connections and people I had the opportunity to meet with during this program.
Great. Mohammed?
Thank you. I think it was one of the best political experiences I've ever had. I learned a lot from seeing politics in action. Some of the biggest takeaways were seeing how the bill becomes law and how the bill changes once it's introduced and until it becomes into a law. Secondly, I learned I'm very new to United States. I came in 2020, so I learned a lot about the two major parties in the United States, their policies, their views, and on some of the controversial issues.
Yep.
I would say
Yes.
after this week, it was long sessions.
Yes.
And the other thing, I think was
Hold on. I'm going to cut you off. We're going to go to Oliver.
Oh.
Sorry. Yeah.
I would definitely say the highlight was when we went with you, Senator Kagan, to your committee the first week, the triple E, or I guess quad E, the energy, environment, and I can't remember the last E.
Education, energy, environment, and I always say, and elections.
And elections, thank
Yes.
you. And it was particularly interesting because then we had to go to file new legislation at the State House, and we were rushing across the street. And I would definitely say that was my thank you.
That was pretty funny. Yeah, I gave you some exercise there as I was rushing to get my bills filed in on time. Amelia, wrap us up on this question.
Well, going kind of off of what Alex and Bilal said, I've always been interested in politics, and I've always had my pretty set and strong opinions, and partisan opinions. But being in the Senate, for this week, especially seeing all the action on the floor that was happening this week, it really exposed me to the actual good conversations that can happen between parties on those issues that I still have my opinions on. But hearing debate on the floor with some of the more controversial bills this week, hearing some of the points made across the aisle, I was sitting there, I was like, oh, that's actually a very interesting conversation. And hearing the dialogue between Democrat and Republican, and just having such respectful and engaging and thoughtful dialogues on these very controversial issues it was very eye-opening to how there are two sides to every story.
Yes, that's true. So for folks who wouldn't know because they weren't on the floor of the Senate or watching necessarily, this week we were dealing with a couple of gun bills, a couple of abortion bills, one of my election bill. There were several others that were on the floor for several days. What surprised you about the debate, Alex?
You know, honestly, coming from a perspective where I had always viewed politics, namely at the federal level, so DC politics, and seeing all the discourse, disruptions, a lot of clashing,
Yeah.
which was very commonplace to a lot of people. The decorum and respect I saw in the Maryland Senate was a completely eye-opening experience for me. I saw how the senators, after arguing or debating their bills, they laughed with each other. They walked over the aisle, they started talking. And after session, they would get together for many different events. I think that cooperation and understanding of one another and trying to separate those what's in session from the actual person is just a profoundly amazing ideal.
Right. So each of you might have had strongly held positions for or against some of these bills. Did you hear debate, Oliver, that made you rethink some of your opinions? And don't be specific necessarily, but was there an argument that surprised you or was unexpected?
Absolutely. These are on many sensitive topics that we experience on a daily basis in our personal lives. We see it in the news. So absolutely, I did have my preconceived notions about the issue, but hearing the debate and hearing the nuances, which sometimes are not seen when we just read about it online, really made me reconsider. And I think that just shows the power of that debate. So thank you.
Mohammed, what about for you?
Honestly, my background, I come from a very different country. And honestly, I've been there to parliament, I've been to the presidential palace of Afghanistan. And a big difference I saw there is debate and actual democracy, where everyone can give their opinion, where everyone talks openly about their opinion and other listens.
Yes.
We have rules, I really like this about the Maryland Senate.
Yeah. Amelia, what would you add?
I mean, I would say kind of, going back to my earlier response, hearing sides of the issues that I'd never even considered before. There were a lot of, points that I might not have necessarily agreed with, but issues brought up that I thought to myself, wow, I looked at this issue from what I thought was every single angle, like every single degree around the circle. And then, oh, look, there's a completely different dimension. Here's a completely different situation that in my perspective, in my worldview, I would have never even conceived, I would have never even thought of. So it was really, really eye-opening to just how, and I feel like that goes to show just how broad and diverse the coalition of constituents is across the state, and how much these senators really do care about representing those constituents' opinions and needs.
Nice. So you guys got to hang out often with the House pages, right? Talk about, Mohammed, why don't you kick us off on this one? Tell us one thing, two things that the House pages had, what was different about their experience, you think?
Sorry, someone was knocking the door. I'm so sorry. I'm in meeting.
Oh, okay. Oliver, why don't you go ahead?
Sure. So it's definitely a different body. There is triple the amount of people in the House. So I would think that debate there is going to be much more prolonged because there are more members, there are more thoughts, more people representing constituents. Versus with the Senate, we have less people. So when we debate
fewer. I'm a grammar geek. Go ahead.
Thank you for correcting me. Yes, it's fewer. I should know this. I studied for the SAT a couple months. That's embarrassing.
There you go. Okay.
But yeah, definitely more people who will be debating on the House.
Right. Amelia, what did you find different from when you talked to your House colleagues?
It's definitely interesting. I mean, I won't pretend that we didn't have a little bit of a rivalry there, but how
did that manifest?
Sorry?
How did that get manifested?
Oh, I mean, we're all interested in politics, so we're all a little bit competitive.
Okay.
But who makes the better cup of coffee, and who has the cooler color in the name badges, stuff like that, and then it just evolved in. But yeah, going off of what Oliver said, the size of the House and the size of the Senate really do bring their differences in debate. And it's different perspectives too, because from the Senate, you have one person per district and they represent that entire district. But for the House, you have 3 people per district, and then you might have 2 Republicans and a Democrat, or 2 Democrats and a Republican. So it's not really as divided among lines there where the Senate only has, one party per district. There's a lot more room for different opinions and different meshing of ideas between districts. And I think that's really, really unique.
Nice. Alex?
On the same question?
Yeah.
Sure. So between the House pages, I actually haven't seen too many differences in the way we handle things. I think both the Senate and House pages were really able to learn a lot, experience a lot of connection buildings and insights. If there were differences, I think the main thing would just have to be with the size of the House. You have so many more people compared to the Senate.
Yes.
So that is honestly, I'd say that is more so of a responsibility that they had to uptake
Right.
Compared to the Senate. But again, I think that both parties learned extremely well from this experience.
So, Mohammed, briefly, tell us what was the most fun thing about being a page?
Honestly, all the 2 weeks were so fun and so exciting that I can't choose one event or another. But if I had to choose one, I think that would be the conversation with Governor Westmore. The time he served in Afghanistan. I'm from Afghanistan, and one fun thing he told me, he has been to the province I'm from.
Wow.
So he told me about that, and it was very fun talking to him, and the conversation, I really liked it.
Nice. Amelia, how about for you?
I would say that one of the most fun things, and honestly one of the most educational things, was just beyond being in the Senate and experiencing legislative work, it was talking to my fellow pages, because we come in, we're like, oh, we're all from Maryland, we're all working in Annapolis, we all have this in common. And then we got into conversation and realized, oh, we all come from completely different backgrounds, completely different counties and towns and schools. And I was saying to my mom, I think our conversations in the page lounge were almost as enlightening as our time spent on the floor of the House, because just hearing those different perspectives from people that live in my same state was just eye-opening. They're some of the most accomplished and brilliant people I've ever met in my entire life. It was just a privilege to work with all of them.
Awesome. Alex?
I was going to say the exact same things, Amelia, so I'm trying to think of something a little different here.
That's okay. I'll come back to you for the next one. Oliver, anything different?
I would say it's me interviewing some of the legislators about their thoughts on youth engagement. I found that to be particularly powerful. I feel that sometimes there's this divide between young people and their representatives, and it's really nice to interview legislators and see what they think about it. So absolutely, it's my conversations with those people.
How many did you do? So I was honored to be one of the people that you interviewed. How many other legislators did you get a chance to interview?
I got to interview 7 legislators, and we have 3 more scheduled, so really excited. Both
That's amazing. Good for you. Good for you. So, Alex, how interested in politics or policy were you before these 2 weeks? And are you more or less interested after this experience?
Yeah, I think I've always been interested in politics thanks to my background. And this is something that I find myself very fortunate to have, just the interest in politics. My parents work in the government, so I've been introduced to it since a young age. But I think that not a lot of people have that experience where they look into and they fully understand what is going on in their either local or federal politics. So, I mean, even just being in this program, although I already had an interest, my interest or curiosity in the subject has just grown exponentially since being in here.
That's great. Amelia?
Well, I'd say I've been interested in politics. We're very politically minded, at least since the 2016 election was when I really got involved with my community. And I kept on asking myself, oh, what are we going to do about this? What are we going to do about this? And then the answer eventually became, well, I could do something about this.
Look at you.
Getting involved in local, I was involved in the Youth Advisory Council for Anne Arundel County, which is just such an amazing learning experience for the politics really done at the local level, for the county executive's office and such. I was always interested in politics, always very politically minded, always down for a good debate. I was definitely more on the legal side of things. I worked at the state's attorney's office. I've been on the mock trial team since I was a freshman. I love it. But after being in the Senate this week and then the week before, I mean, my interest in the political career, and in addition to a legal career, is re-peaked. It was a whole different world that I haven't spent as much time in.
That's
So it was really interesting.
good for you.
Yeah.
Let's go to Oliver and then Mohammed wrap us up.
Thank you. I actually wasn't that interested in politics up until now. I was more of a community activist type person. I did a lot of environmental lobbying. I spoke to many legislators about environmental policy. And I would say that I don't really know if I want to be a legislator. I feel like it's a very important role and responsibility, but it's just a lot of work and it's a huge physical toll. And I respect everyone who currently does it.
Yeah.
I would carefully weigh my options before I would go for any office.
Right. So there are a lot of different ways of being in politics or policy, as you know. Mohammed?
Honestly, before coming to the United States, I was very interested going to military and serving my country that way. But honestly, after some time, once I spent some time in Afghanistan and seeing all the situation, I was like, I want to be a politician. And even I wrote this in my Twitter bio, future president of Afghanistan.
Wow. Okay.
And once I came to the United States, I had a lot of opportunities. Currently, I'm interning for my council member. I want to major in international affairs and economics. I attended a lot of summer programs, for example, ethics and international affairs and all this. I think I'm very interested in politics and I want to make my career in it.
All right, good. Let's go around the horn really quickly. What are your hobbies? What is one thing that really makes you happy that's different from schoolwork or plans? Let's start with Mohammed again. One quick thing.
One thing I really like to exercise. The days I don't go to school, I do exercise twice a day, once in morning and once in evening.
All right. Amelia.
Like I said before, I love my mock trial team. Most of my days spent on that, but I also I make a lot of jewelry, funnily enough.
Nice. Alex?
I really like jumping, so horseback riding. I think it's very freeing and fun. You get to connect with nature and animals.
Nice. Oliver?
I'm an avid aquarist, so I own a lot of fish. No cats or dogs, unfortunately, but that's what I do.
Nice. A pescatarian? No, that's not. No, that's eating them when they're dead. Sorry, never mind. Nope, never mind. Let's delete that. Yeah. Okay. So talk briefly for someone who's watching who might be interested in being a page or might be interested in having a child or niece or nephew apply to be a page. How do you keep up with the schoolwork? So you're missing ultimately 2 weeks of school. Obviously, you're top-notch students. How do you get assignments? Do you work on them? Do you have a tutor? Alex, why don't you start?
Yeah, so I think planning ahead is extremely important in practically everything you do, and this applies the same way to the page program.
Okay.
Making a list, talking with your teachers ahead of time, that's the biggest thing that I can tell you. Talk to your teachers, administration, anyone that you can about schoolwork, and form a plan together. It does not have to be you alone. You don't have to do this alone to catch back up. But when you make that plan with people, you're set to it, you're held accountable, and it's pretty easy.
Okay. Amelia, anything you would add to that? It looks like you were agreeing.
I absolutely agree. I think making a plan with your teachers is the most important thing to do, but also taking responsibility and understanding like, okay, my assignments are my responsibility. We're learning stuff in calculus right now. So I've found myself with someone that knows that unit and I was like, hey, can you help me out?
Nice.
Stuff on yourself.
Okay. Oliver?
What Amelia and Alex said. I have nothing to add.
Perfect. Mohammed?
Hey, I'm a senior, so I talk with my teacher and they excuse my assignments. That's one way, and another way, just what Alex and Amelia said.
That's great. Okay. So some of you, let's see, 3 are juniors, 3 are seniors, 1's a junior. Am I right?
We're all seniors.
You're all seniors. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Plans for next year. Amelia?
Oh, goodness. I have been accepted into a few schools so far, but I'm still waiting to make a final decision.
Okay. Anything you want to share yet? What you're thinking about?
I got into UVA. That was pretty cool.
Congrats. Good. Oliver?
I recently committed to Harvard, but I now need to figure out what I want to study. So
nice. Mohammed, you next year?
I'm going to Washington University in St. Louis, and I know what I'm going to major in. I want to double major in international affairs and economics.
Fantastic. Alex.
You know, I'm still unsure on the school, but I do know I'm going to be struggling for the next 4 years. I'm going to try to double major and minor. So yeah, major in biology, one of the sciences, and international affairs, and then minor in computer science.
Wow. Okay. I assume you all are familiar with Governor Moore's proposal to have sort of a gap year of community service. Is that something that you think, if you had known about it earlier, is it something you would have thought about? Do you know of any of your friends who are aware of it, who might be interested down the road in doing that? What do you think of it as a policy idea?
I think it's a really good policy idea. I mean, I think that one of the most important things, one of the most educational things in my high school career has been involving myself in my community and giving back to my community. You know, my middle school is in Annapolis, and I know firsthand, you know, the amount of kids that don't have good support systems at home that need help with their education. So being able to give back to that community has been really rewarding. And I think that, I mean, it's been just as educational as any class I've taken in high school. I think for those that maybe haven't had the chance to get involved, have been too busy to get involved, and are maybe just looking for a chance to slow down, I think that that would be an amazing policy idea. I'd strongly encourage that for anybody that would be interested.
Good. So let's go around the circle and hear from each of you. One issue that you are most motivated by, that really you're passionate about. Alex.
You know, for me personally, and I know this is an extremely widespread issue and struggle for many people, I have been dedicated to trying to improve mental health services and resources where I can. You know, it's talked about so much, but I don't think people realize exactly how widespread this issue is. We hear it in the news all the time, but honestly, I know very few people that haven't struggled or aren't currently struggling with mental health issues.
Yeah.
So I've tried to work with organizations like the Maryland Civics and Education Coalition, and reach out to senators to try and find a way where we can tackle this, reach between schools, and just try and help people.
And you and I talked about it. You came over to me and asked some really smart questions. So thank you for your leadership on that. Oliver, what one issue?
It would definitely be the freedom to be ourselves. I feel like in today's modern world, we as the younger generation, we have many thoughts and ideas of what it's like to express our gender identity or sexual orientation. And I find that increasingly those rights might be taken away. So to me, it's really powerful for us to maintain that we are who we are and that we are allowed to identify who we want to be as, and that we protect those rights.
Yes, amen. Mohammed?
So I start my day by watching news or reading news. And every morning I see shooting, schools, parks, and all these areas. So I think I'm very interested in gun control laws, and I would definitely advocate for that if I ever get a chance. So that's the policy issue I'm very interested in.
Good. Amelia?
It might be easier to name an issue that I'm not passionate about, but to hone in on one, bodily autonomy, you know, from abortion rights and a woman's right to choose and a women's right to be heard about issues that impact us, to transgender individuals across the country, to any, you know, sort of individuals like Oliver was saying who want to express themselves, that is their right to choose. But yes, absolutely, bodily autonomy, and yeah.
Those are all such important issues. Thank you all for your passion on those. I'm a little surprised. I thought I might get 4 people talking about climate. So interesting. I suspect if I asked you to name 2, that each of you might have, we would have heard that. So
it's certainly, I feel like that's such a baseline issue for our generation specifically.
Totally.
You know?
Totally. Favorite technology, not counting your phone. Oliver, go. One word, one sentence.
Air fryer.
Air fryer. Mohammed.
AirPods.
Okay. Amelia.
My record player.
Okay. Alex.
Satellites. Very interested in tech.
Okay. Amazing. Social media. Amelia. How
It's
much
not good for me, but
how
Twitter.
much do you do?
Sorry. Yeah, Twitter.
Twitter.
Yep.
Okay. Mohammed.
LinkedIn.
Oliver.
Be real.
What? I missed.
Be real. It's relatively new. Oh, let me explain it. So
I don't know if we have time. I'm just,
Okay, I got you.
so check out Be Real. Oliver says it's his thing. Alex.
YouTube.
Okay, including this podcast, which you have surely now subscribed to and are going to watch all of. Okay, and favorite junk food, Alex.
I'd have to say the purple sweet and spicy Doritos.
Haven't tried them yet. Amelia.
Trader Joe's gyoza.
Don't know what that is.
Okay.
Mohammed.
Salt and vinegar lays.
Okay. Oliver.
A good strawberry frosted donut.
Wow, none of you guys are speaking my language there on that. Okay.
What's yours, Senator Kagan?
A lot, but yeah, no, mostly. I don't know what gyoza is, and I'm not sure about the rest of those. Not my best advice you've ever been given. Amelia.
Oh gosh. I guess to quote a musical, to be perfectly honest, even the darkest night will end and the sun will rise. It always gets me through the toughest times.
And what musical is that from?
That's from Les Miserables.
I know that show. I don't know that lyric, and I'm a musical
Excellent.
fiend. All right. Love it. Love it. Oliver.
A very good friend of mine told me that I will fail eventually, and that it's just you pick yourself up and you keep going.
I love that. That's good. Mohammed?
My dad always says education can solve any problem.
Nice. Alex?
My grandma always used to say, this was before she passed, that impatiency or being impatient is the devil's advocate.
Dang. All right. I'm bad about that. Okay. Anything that I haven't asked you before I ask our final question to go around? Anything any of you want to say that you feel like we haven't covered?
Well, I'd love to give one quick piece of advice if I could.
Please.
So, I would just have to say, I know it is very hard and challenging to put your foot forward, to try and do the thing, whatever it is, first. Doing this PAGE program, especially, I was in the hospital before the PAGE program, and I know this doesn't apply to everyone, but my interview was actually the day after I got released, and I decided that I would try everything I could to make that interview. I made it, even though I thought I would fail. I thought I wouldn't be here because of the condition that I was in, but I put my foot forward and I tried. And at the end of the day, you are the only one who can put yourself forward, and always take that opportunity. You never know where it'll lead.
Amazing. Amazing. Well, I hope you are healthy and stay that way for a very, very long time.
Thank you.
Okay, so the last question, the one that I ask every one of my guests, is each of you, and I'm going to have you go quickly, what is your hidden secret superpower? What is a skill or talent you have, something you're really good at that most folks can't do? So let's go backwards from the way we started. So Alex.
I think my hidden super talent would be being able to relate to anyone. Doesn't matter if their viewpoints are completely opposing of mine. I can put myself in their shoes and try and work together with them to see anything, why they think that way, maybe other things. So I think relating to people and sympathizing.
Wonderful. I love it. Mohammed?
Once I talk with someone, they'll love to connect with me. They love to talk with me again. And yeah.
That's great. Good for you. That's a good skill. Oliver?
Just walking up to anyone and striking a conversation with them. Like, if I find you interesting, like, I'm sure we'll have something to talk about.
Cool. Amelia?
I'm very good at getting people to open up. I often say that I could start a conversation with a brick wall, and I feel like a lot of people are able to open up to me and really have conversations with them. People are kind of drawn to me, I guess.
Do brick walls talk back to you?
Sometimes, if I talk well enough, they just might.
All right. Well, you guys, this was so fun. Thank you for taking the time. Thank you for taking the risk of being a Senate page, and who knows what that was going to be like, and handing out amendments to every senator, and getting people their water or tea or whatever. So thank you for all that. It was really fun to kibitz with you today, and I look forward to watching each of you do great things.
Thank you
Thank you
so
so
much
much
for
for
being with
giving
us.
us a chance. Thank you.
Thank
Take
you so
care.
much.
Say
Hey!